Hey everybody, how you doing? Great Sunday to you. You are definitely aware, if you were a regular viewer of Zennie62 on YouTube, of the video that I made explaining that for the first time in 20 years, the National Football League, I would say it like this, the National Football League, okay, did not grant Zennie62 Media credentials to cover the NFL draft. Never happened before. Now, in the post on ZennyReport.com, which is actually at the top of the page of ZennyReport.com, all you have to do is type ZennyReport.com and you can see it. I lay out in detail, and now more detail, a history of animosity, I will call it, uh, because I can't seem to find a nicer word to put it, that has been exacted upon my firm and in particular me, uh, simply for at first wanting to cover the NFL draft red carpet as my company had done every year since 2010 when it started. It The only time I didn't cover it was 2012, and that was because 2011, and no, it was 2012. 2012 because Joanna Hunter had said, "Hey Zenny, I need a favor because the NFL draft red carpet is becoming really popular." She said, "I need a favor. You've done a ton of videos here. Can you sit this one out and I'll make it up to you some kind of way? Because I just want to get some more people in here who haven't done it before because there's two different types of credentials." I said, "Yeah, sure, that's fine, no problem. Okay, happy to help with Joanna. She's always been great. Now I think she's with the Rams still. Whatever the case, uh, I did that, and then next year got a problem. There's never been a problem. Then Nashville came along, Nashville 2019, and all of a sudden, after years of coverage, years of great video memories, uh, and uh, memorable, more than memorable episodes, like with Mark Sanchez. All right, all of a sudden, okay, yeah, Mark Sanchez. All of a sudden, hey, I don't get NFL draft red carpet credential, and I thought, wow. So, and in fairness, the Mark Sanchez matter didn't come up at the NFL draft red carpet, but uh, what did come up in the NFL draft red carpet was such things as me getting Hogs fans of the Washington Redskins, as they were called then, to basically, I didn't have to ask them look for the camera; they did it on their own. It was crazy. At any rate, um, all of a sudden in 2019 in Nashville, hey, can't get on. So I recited our then, by that point, 2010 to 2019, very lofty set of statistics. And I took the matter to Jocelyn Moore and Tracy O'Lee Blunt, who were the heads of communications 1 and 2 for the NFL at the time. Jocelyn says, "Anyway, we know your numbers, so you should be up there." And I actually found an email uh, then from Dana Gordon of BZA PR saying, "Hey, Zenny, this is Dana and Liz." And because this is after I went taking my case to Jocelyn, all right, then they said, "Okay, now you're on the NFL draft red carpet." But what happened informally when I took my case to Jocelyn and Tracy, they said to me, "If she, talking about Liz McCollum, gives you a problem, let us know." It's the first time in my history, my entire history of the draft, I ever heard anybody say anything like that about another person with respect to credentialing uh, for an event like the NFL draft red carpet. Okay. So I said, okay. But I had no problem. Once I was on there, I did fantastic job. Had Kyler Murray, Josh Jacobs. Raider fans will remember that I asked Josh Jacobs uh, how, this was before he got drafted as a Raider, what he thought about playing for the Raiders, right? Because I knew it was coming. I was right. So anyway, that was 2019. 2020, the pandemic, so we didn't have an NFL draft in the normal sense. We had a virtual one, if you remember. And so entirely different ball of wax, entirely different, if you will, ball game, right? Entirely different ball game. And so then 2021 was Cleveland. I didn't attend Cleveland. Was credentialed, but had a matter come up with involving my mom, so I didn't attend Cleveland. Then there was 2022, and that was Las Vegas. Did attend Las Vegas, and even brought my mom. And so, because she loves Las Vegas, put two and two together, come up with four, that sort of thing. Well, one thing and the other. All right. She had a great time and deserved to have a great time. So at any rate, what happened was that I all of a sudden didn't get NFL draft red carpet credential for Las Vegas. Now what? So I had to go through the whole rigmarole again. And Dana Gordon wrote back one for Las Vegas. Hey, Zennie, we got and you're back on there again. So, it was absolutely ridiculous. So I do the same thing in Las Vegas for the same set of reasons as was done to me in 2019 by the same person. Okay. The only problem with Las Vegas was that in trying to get to the media center, it was 90 degrees. I wound up walking from the Bellagio to where all the way back was the interior area, the Bellagio, to the NFL Draft Town area. And of course, the media center was on the other side of that. That was about a good 1.5 mile walk, but everything was cordoned off and zigzagged. And there were some reports I got on a cart, but no one told me where a cart was. So I ended up walking the whole distance. My hip felt like it was going to come out from under me. I needed help. I was actually, trying to figure out how to call the police. So, they, and eventually I got to this field, which is kind of a vehicle yard next to the draft town. And for reasons best known to these guys, I said, hey, can I just cut through here to go to the media center? Well, we're supposed to help you because you have a badge. Why do you think you're so special? That's how they talk to me. I mean, from jump. Okay. Just boom, right? Just from jump. Okay. So they said, well, you need to talk to Liz McCallum or something like that. And I said, yeah. I said, okay. So I called, let Liz know, thinking, hey, I'd get some help, right? So eventually she gets a hold of me and says, come over to this other area. And I did get picked up, and I made a video thanking her. I said, she rocks, right? She rocks. Okay. So then, all right. So then, get to my seat up there. Got a wheelchair, helped me. Everything was great. I complained about what feel to me like racial discrimination. There was no reason for the people at the yard to talk to me the way that they did. And I should have put it on video, put everything on video. I should have put that on video. I didn't. But it happened. I still have the text I sent to Liz. All right. So anyway, fast forward to, that was Las Vegas. Kansas City. Rejected for the NFL draft red carpet again by Liz, but this time Brian McCarthy, the NFL spokesperson, calls me. Well, you made someone uncomfortable. I said, who? And then he says, well, she kind of works. And I figured it. I said, wait, Liz? I said, Brian, I have a video thanking her for helping me because I thought my hip was going to come apart from my body. And then she and I are high-fiving at the end. So is that the kind of exchange you have with somebody that supposedly you have animosity with? Yeah, I was shocked. Okay. And then no, we're talking about two types of civil rights. Disability civil rights, right? Right to access, you need a wheelchair and everything else. That's one. So she's complaining that I needed a wheelchair and that was making her uncomfortable. That's what she told Brian. Brian, and I couldn't believe it. Brian had no reason to lie. He called me directly. Okay. Then, all right. So I demanded a wheelchair. and then said I complained of racial discrimination. So you mean I'm supposed to allow someone to be mean to me on basis that really feel to me like they're racist, and nobody else is being treated that way? And I simply asked, I wasn't demanding, I could barely move. I talked to them, I talked to police people, everybody. I needed help. I needed help. Okay? And when something, people are being really talking to you like you're a junkyard dog from jump. They wouldn't talk to me like that if I was a white woman. These dudes were nasty. Oh yeah, go get the police. We don't care. Da, 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 I never seen anything like that or anybody like that associated with an NFL event before or since in my entire life. That's 20 years of coverage. 20 years. So you mean to tell me that Liz is not comfortable that complained about this? That's what she told Brian. Okay? So 2024 comes up. I taken my matter then to Jeff Pash, who was head of NFL legal. And then Jeff says, so Zennie, you want to go to the event? But I was so weirded out by what was going on. I said, if I go to the red carpet in my mind, how do I know they're going to try to make up something else? So I said, I'll pass on this stuff next year. Next year comes, and so Liz again says, hey, Zennie, we're just out of space. So now we're just out of space, okay? That was Detroit, which, by the way, was a Boffo NFL draft. Green Bay, I missed, okay? So now this year, hey, everything's fine, got everything worked out, have enough money to do X, Y, and Z. I get rejected for week of game credential. I get for the Super Bowl, which has never happened. That would be my 13th one of those. Then I get rejected for the annual meeting. And then the whole disclaimer is, well, you don't have enough reach. Well, how do you know that? My company owns 113 websites. So the first time for the week of game, they said, well, you don't have enough reach. And then also, you don't cover an NFL team. AP Stedham doesn't cover an NFL team. They take care of him. Donald Lacey doesn't cover an NFL team. Okay? He got one. Donald Lacey has a nonprofit. All right? Seriously? Okay? Seriously? So for the NFL meeting, it's like, well, we have this overwhelming thing, and there are people bigger than you. Prove it. There's no ranking. The NFL has no ranking. They have no ranking system. You can't go my one website because that's not the central place for content. I have NFL News by Zennie62.com, which generates almost 100,000 visitors a month alone. We run 11 different types of WordPress sites alone. Okay? So normally you're supposed to prove all of this. Now you're supposed to do that. What's the constant in all this? It's BZA PR and Liz McCollum since 2019. And then I was told that BZA PR is there as in handling this because I believe the founder is friends with Commissioner Goodell or something like that. I have never seen an African-American woman or man work for BZA PR in all this time. I've had 2 African-American women who represent the league at a high level in communications tell me to watch out for a certain person there. All right, watch out for her. Okay? It was the first time I ever heard that, and people who told me that were black. I even wrote to Dana and Liz, hey, look, I hate to think that in Las Vegas, I would hate to think that the reason why I straightened out this problem before is just because I had to go to African-American communications heads. All right? This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And what happens is that this is built on the idea that, well, okay, it's their event and you can do anything you want to. You can't do anything you want to. When you use facilities owned by the public, you as the National Football League are bound by the laws that govern that facility. You cannot discriminate. You have to follow freedom of the press. I am a press person covering a number of events. My company is a C Corp. It's separate from me. It's recognized. It's registered in a number of areas. So don't give me that. Don't at me with, oh, it's about you, Zennie. Because if you think that means you don't respect the fact that I have built a corporate veil, which, by the way, I've done. Okay? I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. So I'm making the noise that no one else wants to be made. But this matter has got to be straightened out. I am not letting it go because it's wrong. This has been going on since 2019. And all the time I'm thinking, oh, these folks are so nice and, you know, everybody else. And no, you know, the kind of thing that every black person goes to, you want to trust people. You got somebody out there that doesn't feel like you belong because, hey, you don't look the part. Or, you know, you do video. Yeah, I do. And then their thing this year was, oh, hey, we'll partner with YouTube creators. Excuse me, Zennie62Media, first ever to use or cover an NFL draft with a YouTube channel. 2006. All you got to do is look here on YouTube, look at it. There's obviously no other organization there covering it on site. And the other videos you will see that have to do with 2006 NFL draft were people pulling stuff off of television that was put on by ESPN, you know, stats about players and all that stuff that should be yanked down because they're copyright violations. Okay. Then there's us interviewing Pat Kerwin of Sirius NFL News, among other people. Remember the late Bert Sugar? Yeah. Okay. All right. The only person I didn't get was Roy Firestone. Even though I met him, I have a picture of he and I with cigars in our mouths we didn't like because we don't smoke them. At least I don't. So, you know, fun stuff. Okay. Fun stuff. And then there's stuff like this. You think I enjoy doing this? No, I don't. But I have to. Because my rights were violated. I was taken away. My company was taken away from an opportunity that adds to its corporate value for illegal reasons. All right? So violations of press freedoms that were implied by 20 years of coverage. Can't just say, hey, oh, well, you know, you're kind of a first timer. No. 20 straight years of credentialing, of great work. It isn't a matter of, well, gee, maybe they just decided it was coming to cut you loose. That's not how it works. And at a time when the Washington Post sacked its sports division, people are getting laid off left and right, and here I am with a platform and set up to attract investors in C corporations so that I can bring in, as always the plan, other people, not just me. People who once worked for these organizations, so we can meld the old and the new. That's what a Generation Jones person does anyway. And, you know, move smartly. So they would figure, hey, we'll just cut you off, which means I can't say to somebody else who got sacked, oh, by the way, come with us because of the way NFL's handling my company under BZA PR. Okay? It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. I don't care what I have to do. I don't care if I have to have the laws changed to make sure they're tightened. And I'm talking about on a congressional level. I don't care what I have to do. I'm going to win this battle. I'm going to win this battle so that it doesn't happen to anybody else and it stops happening with respect to my company. This is ridiculous. Thank you. And God bless you. God bless everybody. And God bless the United States of America.